I'm Kiki.
And it was a humid summer evening, about 3 years ago. My cousin, Sarah, she's more like a sister to me. We grew up together. She was throwing a small barbecue at her new house. Just family and a few close friends. I was late, as usual, stuck in traffic, and my phone was blowing up with her texts asking where I was with the dessert I promised to bring. I finally pulled up to her house, juggling a store-bought cheesecake and my overnight bag. I walked around to the backyard, and the first thing I heard was laughter. Not just any laughter, but a deep, warm chuckle that I didn't recognize. I rounded the corner, and there he was. His name was Liam. He was standing by the grill, a pair of tongs in one hand, using the other to gesture wildly while telling some story to my uncle. He had this messy brown hair that kept falling over his forehead, and when he laughed, his whole face crinkled up, especially his eyes. And then, as if he felt me staring, he looked up. His eyes met mine across the lawn, and for a second, everything else just went quiet. The chatter, the sizzle of the grill, the cicadas, it all just faded into background noise. Sarah came running over, grabbing my arm. "Kiki, finally. You're a lifesaver," she squealed, taking the cheesecake. "Come on, I want you to meet someone." She dragged me over to the grill. "Liam, this is my favorite cousin, the one I'm always telling you about, the artist. Kiki, this is Liam, my boyfriend." Boyfriend. The word hit me like a cold splash of water. Of course, this was the guy she'd been gushing about for months. The one who brought her soup when she was sick, who could fix anything, who made her so happy. I snapped out of my daze and plastered on my biggest smile. "Hi," I said, my voice a little too high-pitched.
I've heard so much about you.
"Mostly good things." "Okay, all good things." He grinned, that same crinkly-eyed grin. "All good things, huh?"
I'm Liam.
"It's so great to finally meet you. Sarah talks about you nonstop. She says you're the crazy one who paints murals on her bedroom walls at 2 a.m. I laughed, a real one this time. Guilty as charged. It's a creative burst. What can I say? And that was it. That was the moment the seed was planted. A tiny, stupid seed that I should have stomped on and buried immediately. But I didn't. For the rest of the night, I found myself watching him. The way he made sure Sarah's glass was always full. The way he patiently listened to my grandpa tell the same story for the 5th time. The way he gently brushed a piece of hair out of Sarah's face.
He was kind. He was genuine.
He was everything. Over the next few months, Liam just became part of the furniture. He was at every family dinner, every movie night at Sarah's place. And because Sarah and I were so close, we were together all the time. The 3 of us. It started as a fun trio. We go for hikes, have lazy Sundays watching bad reality TV, and cook elaborate meals together. This is where it gets tricky. And this is the part I'm not proud of. It wasn't a lightning bolt moment of, I love him. It was slower, sneakier. It was in the small things. Like the time we were all squished on the couch watching a horror movie. Sarah got scared and buried her head in Liam's shoulder, but I, being the jumpy one, flinched so hard I knocked my popcorn all over myself. While Sarah was hiding her eyes, Liam just silently handed me his bowl of popcorn and gave me a little wink, like, "I got you, scaredy cat." Or the time we went to a farmer's market. Sarah was ahead of us, haggling over some organic honey. Liam and I were walking behind her, and I stopped at a stall selling these quirky, hand-painted mugs. One had a sad-looking avocado on it that said, "I'm so alone, Kato." I burst out laughing, showing it to Liam. He didn't just chuckle politely. He threw his head back and laughed, a real, genuine laugh. "That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen," he said, still laughing. "You have to get it. It's so, you." And he bought it for me. Right there. $10. It was just a silly mug, but the fact that he saw something so small and so me, and wanted to be part of that moment, it got to me. I started looking forward to seeing him. My heart would do a stupid little flip whenever Sarah would text, "Liam's coming over later, you in?" and I was always in. I started dressing a little nicer when I knew he'd be around. I'd laugh a little harder at his jokes. I started noticing the way his cologne smelled, like sandalwood and fresh laundry. I started cataloging every little detail about him in a secret folder in my brain that I knew I shouldn't have. The guilt was a constant, low-level hum in the back of my mind. Sarah was my person, my ride or die. The one who held my hair back when I was sick, who cheered me on at every art show, who knew all my darkest secrets. And here I was, harboring this growing, poisonous crush on the man she loved. I felt like a monster. I would lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, mentally slapping myself. Snap out of it, Kiki. He's your cousin's boyfriend. What is wrong with you? I try to distance myself. I started making excuses not to hang out. Oh, I'm swamped with this commission. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I'm seeing another friend. But it was hard. Sarah would get worried. Kiki, are you okay? You seem distant. Is everything all right with you? She'd ask, her big, concerned eyes searching my face. And I'd have to lie, look her in the eye, and say, yeah, just tired. Work is crazy. The distance didn't work. It just made me miss him. And that was the worst part. I missed him. Not the trio, not the dynamic, but him. His laugh. His dumb jokes. The way he actually listened when I talked about my art. Sarah listened too, but with Liam, it felt different. He asked questions that made me think. He saw my art not just as a hobby, but as a part of me. Then came the night that broke the dam. It was Sarah's birthday. We had a big dinner and then went to a quiet bar downtown. After a few drinks, Sarah was dancing with some of her friends from work, and I was left at the high-top table with Liam. It was the first time we'd been truly alone together in months. There was a comfortable silence for a minute, and then he turned to me. So, he said, swirling his drink. You've been avoiding me. Avoiding us. Is it something I did? My heart slammed against my ribs. What? No, of course not. Why would you think that? He gave me a look, a soft, knowing look. Because I notice things, Kiki. I notice when you're not around. The vibe is different. It's quieter. And honestly, a lot less fun. I felt a blush creep up my neck. I tried to play it cool. Just busy with work, that's all. My social battery has been on 0. He nodded, but he didn't look convinced. Okay. Well, for what it's worth, I miss my partner in crime for bad TV and weird farmer's market finds. He said it so casually, so genuinely. He missed me. Not as Sarah's cousin, but as me. And in that moment, sitting there with the low bar lights reflecting in his eyes, I knew I was in trouble. I wasn't just crushing on my cousin's boyfriend. I was falling for him. Hard. A few weeks later, everything came to a head. Sarah was going through a tough time at work and was stressed out. She and Liam had a stupid, small fight about something I don't even remember what. She called me, crying, and asked if I could go with Liam to pick up her favorite takeout and bring it to her as a surprise, to help cheer her up. She was stuck at work late and wanted to do something nice for him too, to make up for the fight. She gave me her credit card and asked me to be the messenger of peace. So, I texted Liam. Peace Envoy Kiki here. Sarah has commissioned me to acquire dumplings and deliver them to you. Where are you? He was at his apartment, working on some project. When I got there with the bags of steaming food, he looked exhausted but relieved. He opened the door wider. The cavalry has arrived. With dumplings. You are a literal angel. We sat at his small kitchen table, eating straight out of the containers. We talked about Sarah, about how stressed she was, and how he just wanted to support her the right way. We talked about everything and nothing. And then, the conversation shifted. You're a really good person, you know that, Kiki? He said, suddenly serious. The way you drop everything for Sarah. The way you care. It's really special. I looked down at my dumpling, my stomach doing flip-flops. She's my person. You do the same for her. You make her so happy. I see it. He was quiet for a moment. I try, he said softly. He looked at me, and the air in the room thickened. You know, I feel like I can talk to you about anything. It's easy. It's always been easy with you. I finally looked up and met his gaze. The room was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. And in that silence, something shifted. It was a fraction of a second, a look that lasted maybe 2 seconds too long. It was a look that acknowledged the elephant in the room, the unspoken thing that was hanging between us. It was a look of pure, terrifying connection. My phone buzzed violently on the table, shattering the moment. It was Sarah. "How's it going? Did you make him smile?" the text read. I typed back a shaky "mission accomplished" and stood up abruptly, nearly knocking over my chair. I should go. Early studio day tomorrow. I grabbed my bag, not looking at him. Tell Sarah I love her. Glad you liked the dumplings. I fled. I walked out of his apartment and didn't stop until I was home, in my bed, staring at the ceiling again. That look. He felt it too. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone in this. And that was the most terrifying realization of all. I went back to full-on avoidance mode. No more group hangouts. No more casual texts. I was a ghost. Sarah was confused and hurt. Liam. I didn't know what Liam was thinking, but I couldn't face him. I couldn't face either of them. A week later, there was a knock on my apartment door. My heart sank because I just knew who it was. I opened the door and there he was. Liam. He looked pale, his hair messier than usual. Liam. What are you doing here? Is Sarah okay? Was the first thing out of my mouth. She's fine. She's at work, he said, his voice low. Can I come in? Please? I need to talk to you. I stood aside, my heart hammering so loud I was sure he could hear it. He walked in and stood in the middle of my living room, looking around at my canvases and paint-splattered floor. Nice place, he said, a weak attempt at normalcy. Liam, what is this about? You can't just show up here. He turned to face me. I know I shouldn't be here, but I had to see you. I had to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. I swallowed hard. Okay. He took a step closer. Is there something going on here? Between us? Because I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel this pull. Every time you're in the room, I can't look at anyone else. When you left the other night, it felt like the lights went out. And I've been trying to ignore it, trying to shove it down because of Sarah, because of everything, but I can't anymore. Kiki, tell me I'm not imagining this. The world tilted on its axis. All the air left my lungs. My secret, the one I'd been guarding with my life, was out. He'd just laid it bare between us. I wanted to lie. I wanted to say, "You're crazy, Liam. Go home." But I couldn't. I couldn't lie to him. Not anymore. "You're not imagining it," I whispered, my voice breaking. The words hung in the air, heavy and terrible. Saying it out loud made it real. It made it a betrayal. He closed his eyes for a second, like he'd been bracing for a punch, and it finally landed. When he opened them, they were full of a confusing mix of relief and anguish. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. It was the most helpless question I'd ever heard. And that's when the full weight of it all crashed down on me. The question wasn't, what do we do? The question was, who are we willing to hurt? The answer was Sarah. The answer was my cousin, my sister, my best friend. I started shaking my head, tears welling up in my eyes. "We don't do anything, Liam. There's no we. There can't be. She's Sarah. She's everything. You are hers. You make her happy. I've seen it." "I know," he said, his own voice thick with emotion. "I know. But feelings aren't supposed to be this loud. They aren't supposed to be this undeniable. I love Sarah, I do. But this thing with you, it's different. It feels like coming home." His words were a knife. Coming home. That's exactly what it felt like. And that was the problem. "This can't happen, Liam," I said, forcing strength into my voice that I didn't feel. "You need to leave. You need to forget this conversation ever happened. You need to go home and love my cousin the way she deserves to be loved. And I need to figure out how to get over this. Over you." I walked to the door and opened it. He stood there for a long moment, looking at me. The look in his eyes was one of profound loss. Then, without another word, he walked out. I closed the door behind him, slid down to the floor, and sobbed. I cried for what felt like hours. I cried for the loss of something that never even had a chance to begin. I cried for the guilt of my feelings. And I cried for the fear of what came next. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. I had to see them together. At a family brunch the next Sunday, I had to watch them, knowing what we'd confessed. I had to smile and make small talk while my heart was being ripped in two. It was a special kind of torture. Sarah, blissfully unaware, held his hand across the table. She leaned over and kissed his cheek. And Liam. Liam couldn't even look at me. It was like I'd become a ghost in my own life. The easy friendship we'd had was gone, replaced by a stiff, painful politeness. He avoided me as much as I avoided him. The trio was dead. Sarah noticed, of course. She kept asking what was wrong between us, why Liam and I were acting so weird. We're not, I'd lie. Everything's fine. Just tired. But it wasn't fine. The secret was a living, breathing thing between us, poisoning everything it touched. I started having panic attacks. I lost weight. I couldn't paint. My art, my escape, was gone. All I could think about was the look in his eyes when he said I felt like coming home. About a month later, I got a text from Sarah. "Can you come over? I need to talk to you." Alone. My blood ran cold. I knew. I just knew. I walked to her apartment on legs that felt like jelly. She opened the door, and her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying. I walked in, and the first thing I saw was the sad avocado mug, the Alone Cato mug, sitting on her kitchen counter. Liam had left it there. Why had he left it there? Sarah sat on the couch, and I sat next to her, my heart in my throat. "He told me everything, Kiki," she said, her voice flat. Dead. The world stopped. I couldn't breathe. "Sarah, he told me he has feelings for you. That he's had them for a while. That he didn't act on them, but he couldn't lie to me anymore." She looked at me, and the pain in her eyes was like nothing I'd ever seen. It was the pain of betrayal. The pain of losing two people she loved at once. Did you know? Did you feel the same way? I had a choice. I could lie. I could protect myself, protect the image she had of me. But looking at her broken face, I couldn't add another lie to this mountain of deceit. She deserved the truth, even if it destroyed me. "Yes," I whispered, the word tasting like ash. "I felt it too. And I am so sorry, Sarah. I never meant for this to happen. I tried to stop it. I tried to push it away. I love you more than anything in this world, and the thought of hurting you has been killing me." She stared at me, her face a mask of hurt and disbelief. "How long?" "A while. Months. But nothing happened, Sarah. I swear on my life, nothing physical ever happened. We confessed our feelings to each other once, and then he left. We've been avoiding each other ever since. I was trying to protect you. I was trying to protect us." By lying to me, she screamed, the tears finally spilling over. "By sneaking around behind my back with feelings? You think that's protecting me? You're my cousin. My best friend. He's the man I thought I was going to marry. And you two had this whole secret world of feelings going on right under my nose. It wasn't a world," I pleaded, crying now too. "It was a mistake. It was a horrible, terrible mistake that I've regretted every single second. I love you, Sarah. I choose you. I will always choose you." She shook her head, pulling away from me. "You can't choose me and have feelings for him, Kiki. That's not how it works. It's him or me. And right now, I don't even know if I can look at you." She stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. "Please leave." I walked out of her apartment in a daze. I had lost them both. In one fell swoop, I had lost the man I was falling for and the woman who was my entire world. The next few months were a black hole. Sarah didn't speak to me. The whole family knew something was wrong, but we both kept the real reason a secret. It was too shameful. I was the villain in my own story. Liam and Sarah broke up, of course. I heard through the grapevine that he moved away, took a job in another city. He was gone. I was left with the wreckage. The guilt was a physical weight on my chest. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't paint. My art had always been my voice, but now I had nothing to say. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sarah's hurt face. And every time I opened them, I saw the empty space where Liam used to be. I started going to therapy. I had to. I was drowning. My therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Evans, didn't judge me. She helped me untangle the knot of guilt and shame. She helped me see that feelings aren't choices, but actions are. I didn't choose to fall for Liam, but I chose how to handle it. And while I made mistakes, I also made the choice to not act on it, to protect my cousin, even if it meant destroying myself in the process. It was a small comfort, but it was something. I started painting again. Small things at first. A leaf. A cup of coffee. Slowly, the colors started to seep back into my world. I painted my feelings, the mess, the guilt, the sadness. I painted a huge canvas of a cracked vase with beautiful, vibrant flowers still growing out of the cracks. It was about me, broken, but still capable of growth. A year passed. A whole year of silence from Sarah. I missed her every single day. I sent her a birthday card. No reply. I sent her a text on the anniversary of our grandma's death, just saying, thinking of you today. No reply. I didn't blame her. The wound I had inflicted was deep. Then, one rainy Tuesday evening, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. I almost didn't open it, but something told me to. Kiki, it's Liam. I'm in town for a few days. I know I have no right to ask, but I would really like to see you. Just to talk. There's a coffee shop on 5th Street. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. No pressure. I'll understand if you don't come. My heart stopped, then started racing. Liam. After a year. My first instinct was to delete the message, to bury my head in the sand. The pain of that time was still so fresh. But a tiny, stubborn part of me, the part that had started to heal, was curious. What could he possibly have to say? I spent the next 24 hours in a turmoil. Part of me wanted to see him, just to look at him again. Part of me was terrified it would rip open the barely healed wound. In the end, the curiosity won. I had to know. I needed closure. At 3 p.m. the next day, I walked into the coffee shop. It was a small, cozy place, the smell of fresh beans filling the air. I saw him immediately. He was sitting at a table in the corner, a cup of coffee in front of him, staring out the window. He looked older, tired, but still undeniably him. He saw me and stood up, a hesitant, hopeful smile on his face. Kiki, you came. I walked over and sat down opposite him. Hi, Liam. There was a long, awkward silence. The barista came over and I ordered a tea just to have something to do with my hands. I wasn't sure you would, he said softly. I wasn't sure I would either, I admitted. Why are you here, Liam? He took a deep breath. Because I needed to apologize. To you. For everything. I was the one who came to your apartment. I was the one who put you in that impossible position. I should have been stronger. I should have protected you from my feelings. Instead, I dumped them on you and then ran away. I'm so sorry, Kiki. I looked at him, seeing the genuine remorse in his eyes. We both made mistakes, Liam. I wasn't exactly innocent. I could have been more honest with Sarah from the beginning instead of letting it fester. I also wanted to tell you, he continued, that I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I moved, started a new job. It took a long time, but I'm healing. And a big part of that healing was accepting that what I felt for you was real, but so was my love for Sarah. And I had to let both go to become a whole person again. He paused, his eyes searching mine. How are you? Are you painting again? I felt a small smile touch my lips. Yeah, I am. It saved me, actually. Painting. And therapy. I'm glad, he said, and he meant it. We talked for an hour. About everything and nothing. About his new city, about my new art series. We talked like old friends, the painful history still there, but no longer a screaming monster in the room. It was just a sad, quiet memory. As he was getting ready to leave, he reached into his bag and pulled out a small, wrapped package. He slid it across the table. I found this in a shop a few months ago, he said. It made me think of you. You don't have to keep it, but I wanted you to have it. I unwrapped it. It was a small, hand-painted pin. It was a sad avocado with a little speech bubble that said, I'm so alone, Kato. A tiny version of the mug. I laughed, a real, genuine laugh that surprised me. I looked up at him, and for the first time in a year, I didn't feel a pang of heartbreak. I just felt a warm, bittersweet fondness. "Thank you, Liam," I said. "For this. For coming. For the apology." He smiled, the old crinkly-eyed smile, but softer now. "Take care of yourself, Kiki. Be happy." He stood up and walked out of the coffee shop. I watched him go, a single figure disappearing into the rainy afternoon. I sat there for a long time, holding the little avocado pin in my palm. It wasn't a symbol of our almost love anymore. It was a symbol of healing, of a chapter closed. A few weeks later, I was in my studio, putting the finishing touches on a large canvas. It was an abstract piece, full of swirling blues and greens, with a single, vibrant streak of gold running through the middle. It was about moving forward, about finding light in the dark. My phone buzzed. It was a text. From Sarah. "I heard Liam came to see you. I'm ready to talk. Can we have coffee? Just us." My heart swelled. I typed back immediately. "I would love that. Name the time and place." And that's where I'll leave the story for now. Because the truth is, life doesn't wrap up in a neat little bow. The scars from that time are still there on both of us. But scars mean you survived. They mean the wound healed. I learned that love isn't just about the big, dramatic feelings. It's about the choices you make. It's about protecting the people you love, even from yourself. It's about owning your mistakes and doing the hard work to become a better person. I fell for my cousin's partner, and it broke me. But eventually, it also taught me how to put myself back together. So, if you're going through something complicated and painful right now, just know that it won't feel this way forever. The feelings that feel like they're drowning you right now, they will ebb. The tide will go out. And one day, you'll find yourself sitting in a coffee shop, holding a silly avocado pin, and you'll realize that you're going to be okay. You're going to be more than okay. Thanks for listening.